Today's first impressions video is on Inertial Drift, and it is pretty much what you'd expect. It seems like a spiritual successor to Initial D without directly saying so. It's not a bad little drifter. It uses different mechanics to what normal racing games use, and the graphics and the art style are honestly fantastic. We'll look through the settings first, then we'll jump into the main story mode because I want to show you the story pieces and the actual races themselves of how they sort of develop and go through. Spoiler alert, I really like this game. I enjoy this game a lot. This is a very good sort of way of experiencing drift without the conventional means. If that makes sense. Gameplay settings, there's not a huge here. There's not a huge amount with most of these sort of settings, but the way that they've done the game, it doesn't really need it. It's sort of 2.5D racing, so it doesn't really require a lot. But what you do get in the gameplay settings is you get language, leaderboards on or off. You can invert the drift stick if you so desire, and I'll explain more what the drift stick is when we're playing. You can swap between drift and steering. Controller vibration on or off. Now, if you're playing with a controller, I would probably advise switching this off if you're going to play for a large amount of time, because the vibration is just constant. It's just always on, especially if you're drifting a lot, which, name of the game, you're kind of going to be doing that. Rear view mirror on or off. It's a very large rear view mirror, but it's placed in such a way that it's not obtrusive. So again, that's going to be personal preference as to whether you want that on or not. Text speed and units, and that's your lot. That is your lot. You can also remap the controls completely, which is nice, or you can restore it to default settings. Graphics settings, again, sort of the same theme. There isn't a huge amount here, but what is here is needed and is well implemented. So you've got your brightness, full screen, frame rate, VSync on or off, resolution, motion blur. Now, normally I turn motion blur off in seconds, but for this game, it actually works and enhances your experience as opposed from detract from it. Most racing sort of games, you can get away with motion blur because it kind of fits the theme. It's more in games where you're running around like an idiot that you don't need motion blur on. But again, it's there if you want to turn it off. Chromatic aberration, ambient occlusion, anti-aliasing, and shadows. There's more here than you would expect from a 2.5D game. One thing I will say is I don't like the way they've done it. It does this whole scrolling all the way through without a hard limit sort of thing. So you can find yourself scrolling forever trying to get all the options how you want them. But honestly, there's a lot here and I'm very happy with it. Lastly then, the audio settings. So first of all, the soundtrack is brilliant. It's very synthwavy, very 80s. The entire game screams 80s again. It very clearly takes heavy inspiration from Initial D, and it does start the master down at 70, which is nice, so it doesn't blast your ears out. But you've got music, menu, engine, tire squeal, surface sounds, drift gyro, impacts, ambience, wind. Like, there's more audio options here than I've seen in most AAA games, and it's really nice to see, so you can get the balance exactly right how you like it. Overall, very impressed with all of these settings menu, but I've got to say I'm very impressed with the audio settings. Alright, so we're in the game. You've got this amazing sort of cartoon stylized racing here, and you basically have to drive down. Now, the way that they do the drifting is interesting. Your left thumbstick doesn't steer per se as much as it guides. Your steering is done by drifting, which is done by the right thumbstick, and it takes a while to get used to, but when you do get used to it, it feels incredible. You genuinely do feel like you've got way more control of the car than you would in your more typical drifting games, and it feels amazing. It looks incredible, but obviously with vibration on, when you are driving down this sort of hill with all the turns and everything going on, your car is just vibrating constantly. So maybe instead of having a vibration on or off, maybe a vibration sensor or a vibration sensitivity would be a better way around it. Now, we're in story mode right now, which is why we're going against ghost cars. There are different modes that you can choose. You've got challenge modes, you've got arcade modes, you've got a local co-op. I don't know if you've got a multiplayer online that you can do, but if you did, that would be kind of awesome. And you just basically go through. You sort of do each stage. When you do each stage, you then can progress and you'll see more of the story. But basically it shows a group of car enthusiasts as you go through, and you get ready for the big summer Grand Prix, where you're going to be doing different tracks and sort of trying to beat and win all races. And right now we're in the preparing stage, where we are going through and we're learning each track, and I've chosen Ada in the Cody, or what they've called the Cody here. She's very sort of insecure. She's not quite sure of herself or her abilities, but everybody else is very, very supportive, and it shows a very nice sort of positive background, if you like. It shows a really nice close-knit community, which from what I can tell is kind of the car community as a whole. But yeah, I really genuinely like this game. It genuinely looks fantastic. I want to show you more of the art style, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out of this, or stop recording now, and then I'm going to get to a storyboard. And when I get to the storyboard, you'll be able to see some of the art style and the way that the story kind of progresses as you go through. Now, obviously that will pertain to some spoilers, so bear that in mind when you see the next bit through of this race. Okay, so this is the way that they do their storytelling. Again, it's very limited in its animation, but the art style is fantastic. The way the characters are drawn are really well, and I love the way that they highlight who is talking by making them come to the forefront, and the way they're highlighted. And again, you've got the background, very 80s, very, very stylized in that sort of fashion sense. The text works really well. Everything fits the theme. This is a very, very well put together game, and I love the art style. I know I've said that many, many times, but I really, really do. I think the characters come alive with the way that they go through and their facial actions, and they really portray who is the confident ones, who are the guys that are going to do really well, and who are the ones that maybe have that hidden potential that can really outdo themselves. So there you go. This is Inertial Drift. I really, really like it. I think it's fantastic, and it's going to be one of those unsung heroes that probably deserves a bit more of the limelight. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Ciao, ciao.